McNutt is the chief.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Minchow with Ray Kamutaraj. We're listening to HPD Chief Acevedo talk about the shooting and injuries of 5 police officers last night.
Let's listen in.
Medical facilities that are second to none, and I believe that many people that in other places may not survive because of the excellence of this hospital. Dr. McNutt will give you a medical update. Understand that there are HIPAA rules that have to be followed and other rules, so she will not be answering questions once she makes her statement. And then we'll go ahead and go through the incident and update the media on suspects and additional information we have today. So thanks, Dr. McNutt, for being here this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. As you all know, there were 5 Houston police officers injured in the line of duty who were taken to the Red Duke Trauma Institute at Memorial Hermann yesterday. Due to patient privacy and family wishes, I will only be updating you on 3 of their conditions. First of all 3 officers are currently stable. They're clinically stable in our hospital. One gentleman suffered a gunshot wound to the face, was taken to the operating room last night, is currently recovering and will undergo multiple other operations by our facial trauma team in the future. But again, he is stable right now. Another officer also sustained a gunshot wound to the face. Fortunately, he will not require surgery and will most likely be discharged home later today. He's doing well. And finally, the 3rd officer also sustained a knee injury during the altercation. He has already undergone surgery by our orthopedic trauma team. He's also recovering and will most likely be sent home later this week. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our first responders, including the Houston Fire Department, who was available on scene, quickly assessed, treated, and transported the patient to our hospital. I also want to take this time to thank Memorial Hermann Life Flight and also all of the physicians, nurses, and techs in the ER and the operating room who did their job fantastic yesterday. Each step in trauma is critical. Time is of the essence. Time is extremely important, not only in the pre-hospital setting, but also once you arrive to the hospital. And I'm very proud of our team for doing their job yesterday. Memorial Hermann Hospital is here for the men and women who serve our community. We are also honored to take care of our police officers and our community and are always ready to help you if you're injured. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, Dr. McNutt, again, on behalf of all of our officers, not just for yesterday, but for what you do, not just for our officers, but this community, we just want to say thank you. Thank you. You use the word heroes all the time, but the doctors and nurses at this institution, the firefighters, everyone that was involved, the Life Flight, just they're all heroes in our eyes, and we're just very blessed. So again, thank you, and thank you for being here this morning. And so again, I want to update everyone on some of the information that you may or may not have. But let me just say that the involved officers are all undercover narcotics officers because of security concerns and some other issues and ongoing investigations. We will not be releasing names at this point, at this time, but you know, we're very much, Commander Follis, come up here. We're all believe in transparency, and when we can, we'll release more information. So I will be releasing today the names, not the names of the officers, but their age, not years of service, just to give you a flavor for the type of individuals that we have. As you know, yesterday, about 4:30, shortly before 5 o'clock, narcotics officers from the Houston Police Department, from the Group 15, initiated a search warrant at the location at the 700 block of Harding Street. Upon making entry, they immediately came under fire. The first officer through the door, armed with a shotgun, was charged immediately by a very large pit bull that charged at that officer. He discharged rounds that we know that the dog was struck and killed. At the same time, a male suspect came from around the back and started an open fire with a .357 Magnum revolver. That officer was struck in the shoulder. He went down, fell on the sofa in the living room, at which time a female suspect went towards that officer, reached over the officer, and started making a move for his shotgun. At that time, backup officers, other officers in the staff that made entry, discharged their firearms, striking that female suspect. An exchange of gunfire occurred, continued. between that officer who was struck, the officer that I described yesterday that's 54 years of age, this is the third time in his career he's been shot. And this guy, he's 54, and here he is, not retired, but actually being the case agent. That officer, who's actually the officer that breached the door, and when you breach the door, you don't make entry, your other officers make entry, immediately knew that he had his partners were down, and he made entry. When he made entry, he himself got shot. After we had 2 officers down and another one shot, the remaining officers in the stack started laying down cover fire, left positions of cover themselves, and they all, I believe, heroically pulled their fellow officers out of harm's way. And then we all know what happened between Life Flight, EMS, and Houston Police, where we escorted everybody here either by ambulance or by helicopter. The injured officers, the officer that was shot in the face, again, that hopefully will be released sometime today or tomorrow or sometime this week, is a 50-year-old sergeant and a 25-year veteran of the Houston Police Department. Another officer that sustained the injury to his knee that actually required surgery and has been completed and will probably get out this week is a 50-year sergeant and a 50-year-old sergeant and a 27-year veteran. The officer that I described, senior officer that I described, is 54 years old and a 32-year veteran, and the case agent is the one that, after he saw his fellow officers come under fire, he heroically made that entry, and I'm just going to say it, he just passed a note to one of us, one of our officers, that said, I had to get in there because I knew my guys were down. And that just speaks volumes as to this man and just his courage under fire. And another officer was a 33-year-old officer, 10-year veteran, and he sustained, again, a shoulder wound, and he was released yesterday, but he did sustain a shoulder wound from the gunfire. The last officer that was struck, you all know that we talked about him yesterday, but the family has asked that we not talk further about his medical condition, but I will say this, he's in a fight, he's stable, but we need to pray for all these officers, especially the last officer. We just need the community's prayers for him and his family, and for all these officers, including the ones that weren't shot. As you can imagine, the guilt that gets in, the what ifs, the second guessing, why wasn't me, all those things. So all these officers need prayers. Now, the investigation is ongoing as to the officers that I mentioned that have been shot, in terms of which ones, we haven't been able to debrief them, so we can't tell you which one of them at this point, specifically who returned fire. But I can tell you that the officers that affected the rescue and returned fire that were part of the initial stack, there was 9 officers in that stack. One is a 30-year veteran, a 30-year-old officer and a 9-year veteran. The second officer, and these guys were newer on the team, so they were back in the stack, is a 32-year-old officer and a 10-year veteran. Another officer is a 37-year-old officer and an 8-year veteran. And the last officer that discharged that we have determined so far is a 36-year-old officer and an 11-year veteran. We do not have cameras on us when we make these entries. There were no cameras, no body-worn cameras, so if everyone's is wondering about that, they need to know that we do not have cameras. The officer, this is a 54-year-old officer, 32-year veteran, this is his 3rd time being shot. He was shot in the line of duty in 1992 and again in 1997. We have identified our suspects, and our suspects next of kin have been notified, and I'm going to, if Bobby, can you hold the suspects, and will you guys hold the suspects? The female suspect that you see there that actually was shot in the living room when she went to grab the fallen officer's shotgun, is identified, she's a female white, identified as, and I will spell it out for you. First name, Regina, R-H-O-G-E-N-A, Regina, R-H-O-G-E-N-A. Last name of Nicholas, N-I-C-H-O-L-A-S, N-I-C-H-O-L-A-S. She was 58 years of age. The male suspect that actually engaged in the firefight with the officers is 59 years of age. He's also a white male, and he is identified as Dennis, D-E-N-N-I-S, Tuttle, T-U-T-T-L-E. Tuttle, T-U-T-T-L-E. The female is Regina, R-H-O-G-E-N-A. Last name of Nicholas, N-I-C-H-O-L-A-S, 58-year-old white female. We're not going to talk about their criminal histories. That's part of the investigation, and we've got a lot to go into their background to see what we can learn about. That's part of our ongoing investigation. A search warrant was conducted last night, and a search of the premises revealed the presence of marijuana in the location. We also recovered another drug, white powdery substance believed to either be cocaine or potentially fentanyl. We recovered two 12-gauge shotguns, one 20-gauge shotgun, one 22 caliber rifle, and one Remington 700 rifle. Those are the items that were recovered in the target location. The investigation into that location will continue, and the investigation into the officer-involved shooting will continue with the assistance of the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Obviously, our Special Investigations Unit, which is our specialized unit that conducts investigations to officer-involved units, and lastly, the Internal Affairs Unit that will conduct an administrative review into everything from A to Z, tactical plans, everything that went into this operation to ensure that all departmental policies were adhered to. All the officers that were involved in the officer-involved shooting will be placed on administrative leave consistent with the departmental policy. They've all been debriefed. We've had psychological teams. We had 3 of our psychologists here yesterday. Our peer support folks were here yesterday, and our peer support and psychological services will also be debriefing family members of our involved employees or any of our employees that need it, our dispatchers, and just the rest of our team. And so with that, I think I've covered everything I needed to cover, and I will open it up to questions from anyone.
Chief, who was the officer that was discharged already? Which one was he?
Are you serious? Didn't I already tell you guys that? Let me get my little cheaters back on. He was the one that's already discharged. Was a 33-year-old, 10-year veteran, and he was discharged yesterday. And he actually did sustain a gunshot wound to the shoulder.
Chief, you mentioned this officer that's been shot 3 times.
Yeah.
In line of duty. Undercover officers. How dangerous is this line of work?
Well, police work is 2 things that you know about police work. It could be tremendously boring, 98% of the time, and extremely dangerous and dynamic 2% of the time. But we know that they're always in danger, and it's dangerous business we're in. And we know that, we live in a society where there's a proliferation of firearms, where you can assume there'll be firearms just about every location that you hit. And unfortunately, some people just don't have a respect for the sanctity of life. And so, but what I'll tell you, I am going to rub that man for 2 reasons. One, I want some of his courage to rub off on me, and the other thing I want to, he's done something good in life that God really watches over him.
And I know you can't identify him, but what can you say about him? Did you know him personally?
He's a big teddy bear. He's a big African-American strong ox, tough as nails, and the only thing bigger than his body in terms of his stature is his courage. I mean, I don't know. I think God had to give him that big body to be able to contain his courage, because the man's got some tremendous courage. He went in there, and like I said, he passed the note this morning. I had it going, and I'll get emotional thinking about it. I had to go in. I knew my guys were down. So, what else?
Chief, were all of the officers that were moving inside, were all the wounds sustained inside the home?
Inside, either inside or at the doorway. So it was a very tight quarter. Unfortunately, when you're going through a door, that's really a fatal funnel. And once you go through the door and you have the first officer that went in with the shotgun go down, our officers don't have a choice. They've got to enter that fatal funnel, go through. The tactical advantage really is in the hands of the suspect, but that's what they get paid to do. You know your brother's down or your sister's down, you go in. That's what they did, and we're really proud of it.
Is there a sense that the suspects knew full well that the officers were going to be going into that house?
That's part of the investigation. I can't tell you if they had a lot of drug houses, and I can tell you this, Chief Dobbins and I were talking about it. The neighborhood thanked our officers because it was a drug house at the community. There are eyes and ears, and that's how we started. And they said thank you. They described it as a problem location. They thanked the officers, but a lot of drug houses have surveillance systems that are better than the businesses use. I mean, you're in an illicit business, and we know that they protect and they want to know when the cops are coming. So that's part of the investigation.
Chief, I think the thing that's concerning that we're seeing a lot on social media because of all the transparency. Yeah, people are thanking you all for taking the tip seriously and then moving in like you did yesterday. However, a couple of schools are in the area. Nice day yesterday. There are parks nearby, less than a quarter mile away. And a lot of parents were asking, is this normal for you all to move in knowing school buses and all of these things are happening? Can you speak a little to
Well,
that?
I can tell you that I'm not aware of a single school bus, and I didn't see a single kid in that neighborhood. And I got there, we were actually meeting with life's full of ironies. We were actually meeting the new special agent in charge of the DEA at my office at 1200 Travis when we get the call near 5 o'clock that we have officers down from Larry Bainbridge, our SWAT commander. And I got there fast enough that my Tahoe ended up one house from the target house. So if you imagine when 5 officers are down, how many cops are going to roll? You've been in the business long enough. So for me to be able to get to that spot, we got there pretty quickly. I didn't see any children, and I didn't see any school bus. And so, do we always think about doing things better? Absolutely. But I can assure you that the officers that are going to do the entry are not going to wait till they see the school bus unloading before they make the entry. I don't believe there's any evidence or any indication that any child was endangered at that time. I can tell you again, I was there very quickly, and I didn't see any children.
Chief, you talked a little bit about the wounds that were sustained by the officers. Can you give us some perspective on were any of the officers shot in their bulletproof vests?
No, not that we're aware of. And by the way, I'll just say this: everybody has a family, and our condolences goes out to the suspects. I mean, at the end of the day, you engage police officers and you start shooting at police officers, they're going to shoot back, but that's somebody's loved one, and we send our thoughts out to the families, right? We can't control who our family members are, and we can't control what they do, but it's a tragedy when you have a loss of life. There's nothing to celebrate other than we're just very fortunate that we had 5 officers injured, 4 shot, and they're all alive. What else?
How much did y'all know, going into, whether the suspect would be armed or whether the dog would be there, or how much information intelligence you had beforehand?
That will,
the situation would be like?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're hitting a drug house, you can almost always make the assumption you're going to have armed suspects. Just yesterday, we had our press conference talking about our 2018 end-of-year crime, and one of the things that we told the community earlier yesterday was that the 3 greatest drivers of homicides in most big cities, including ours, are gang, right? Gang affiliation, drugs, and the third one is domestic violence. So, we try to work up houses as much as possible, but 99 times out of 100, we don't hang out in the house. We haven't been in the house. You just do the best you can. But that'll be part of our administrative review and obviously our SIU review on the tactical plan. Ultimately, when we have anyone shot, suspect or officers, we always look at the totality from beginning to end of how we conducted the operation to see if there's any lessons learned. That will be part of the review.
Chief Acevedo, you was the chatter among officers that there's been a change in these operations where there was a time when you knocked out the door, the bad guys would pretty much give it up. And we've had now, recent, I know this was the last one, not your guys, but where they don't just surrender, they start shooting. Are we seeing a change in the way these guys are reacting to those presence of your own?
You know, it would be anecdotal, and I don't want to just get into that. You know, I don't want to speculate. There's suspects that when you say a police, they get on the ground, and there's suspects that could care less who it is. They're going to shoot at you. And in this case, the suspect decided to shoot, and then he came and actually at one point took his gun out the door and shot at the officers as they were reportedly shot at the officers as they were making the rescue. I'm going to do a little Spanish real quick because I know that some of them are live streaming. So, en español, estamos muy agradecidos al hospital. Como ustedes saben, ayer, como a las 5 de la tarde, 9 agentes de la División de Narcóticos fueron a hacer entrar a una casa con una orden de corte, y cuando abrieron la puerta, inmediatamente un perro bien grande atacó con unos oficiales, y al mismo tiempo un sospechoso hombre que identifiqué ya disparó a los oficiales. El primer oficial que entró con el shotgun, desgraciadamente uno de los balazos le dio a él y se cayó en uno de los muebles que estaba en la encena. El momento que cayó, la sospechosa, la mujer blanca de 58 años de edad, fue y trató de acabar el rifle del oficial, y cuando los oficiales vieron esa acción, dispararon para defender al oficial. El oficial que fue que abrió la puerta al empezar, vio que uno de sus colegas había estado balazado, entró, y cuando entró también le metieron un balazo. Ese oficial tiene 54 años de edad, lleva 32 años en la policía, y es un héroe, porque le digo que ese oficial, esta es la tercera vez en su carrera que ha tenido heridas de armas de fuego por sospechosos. Y entró porque sabía que su colega estaba en peligro y quiso rescatarlo. Y para mí habla sobre el corazón de nuestra comunidad, el corazón de nuestros oficiales, el coraje de nuestros oficiales, y debemos todos estar orgullosos. También quiero que sepa la comunidad hispana, latina, que está aquí, inmigratoria. Acuérdese que ese vecindario, esa área, casi todas las personas que viven ahí, muchos de ellos son hispanos, son latinos, son inmigrantes, y tengo orgullo en saber que tenemos una relación con nuestra comunidad, que tienen confianza con el departamento policiaco, con el departamento policiaco, y reportaron, porque sin reportar, el veneno que están vendiendo ahí sigue, envenenando a nuestra juventud, envenenando a nuestros niños. Y queremos decirle a la comunidad, especialmente a la comunidad que es inmigratoria, que a lo mejor está indocumentada, gracias por su coraje, gracias por ser nuestro compañero, y gracias por tener confianza con nosotros, porque sin los ojos y la cooperación de esa comunidad, no podemos hacer lo que hacemos. ¿Ok?
En un inicio habían comentado que los sospechosos eran de origen hispano. Esa situación cambió ahora. Que habían mencionado su identidad como hispano.
¿Quién dijo? ¿Nosotros? No. We didn't. No. I don't know who did that, but yo no di ninguna información sobre los sospechosos ayer. Encontramos marihuana, encontramos otra droga que pensamos que es o cocaína o fentanyl, no sabemos qué clase de droga, y encontramos varias armas de fuego, rifles largos y también revólveres.
¿Creen ustedes que había más personas adentro de la propiedad además de las 2 personas que les...
No, nada más que pensamos que habían esas dos nada más. So we believe that the only people left in the property inside the home were the 2 deceased suspects.
We heard that inside the home it was a huge mess. Can you talk a little bit about why the 2 robots were used yesterday to help clear the scene?
Once you have 5 officers down, we always talk about time is on our side. We don't need, the last thing we needed was to hurry up And quite frankly, we don't know if anybody else is in there. We had some information there might be a handicapped person living in the home. That turned out that person was not there if they even lived there in the first place. But the robots were used, 2 different robots were inserted into the location to help clear the location, to help try to find other suspects, and most importantly, to provide our tactical team, our SWAT team, a view of what's going on so then they can put together an operational plan to go in, know where the threats are, where people might be hiding, and eventually we're able to clear the house. And HFD declared the 2 suspects, the 58-year-old and the 59-year-old, deceased inside the house.
And just to clarify, Chief,
Los oficiales, gracias a Dios, tenemos un oficial que tuvo un tiro aquí en el hombro, que ayer lo soltaron. Otro oficial que tuvo en su rodilla, que no fue un balazo, pero tuvieron que operarlo. Está aquí todavía, pero está en una condición. Hoy lo operaron esta mañana. Pensamos que va a salir esta semana. Y tenemos otro oficial, el oficial de 54 años, que es un león, ¿no? Es un tigre, es una persona que es un héroe. Él va a estar aquí por un tiempecito, pero con el favor de Dios va a estar bien. Tenemos el otro oficial, el sargento, que le metieron herida en la cara, y él va a estar bien, gracias a Dios. Y tenemos otro oficial que tengo que respetar la familia, pero quiero que sepa la comunidad, aunque está estable, está en condición crítica, y por favor les suplicamos que las oraciones para nuestros oficiales, no solamente los que fueron heridos, pero también las familias, los familiares, los líderes, porque esto es algo que causa emoción para todo el mundo, nuestra familia entera de la policía de Houston. Al fin del día, estos sospechosos tienen familiares que lo aman, y también nuestros pensamientos están con los familiares, los sospechosos. Anything else?
Chief, just to clarify, last night you mentioned black tar heroin, today marijuana and other
Yeah, we actually bought black tar heroin at that location.
So there was heroin bought there at one point. Is this one
We didn't find any
operation?
yesterday. We didn't find any yesterday.
I just want to know, John.
Okay,
Davis is in the
let me
hospital.
just go over here real quick.
Just to be clear, of the 5 officers that got conditions on 4, is it fair to say that you feel confident about the conditions of the 4 that we released information on, but you're still very much concerned about the long-term well-being of that 5th officer? You feel like the 4...
We're very concerned about one, and while he's stable, we just ask for prayers. He's in a really tough fight, and we're hopefully he'll be surviving. But we want a good quality of life for our officers, and our prayer would be that we lift him up in prayer and his family up in prayer, that we can have a recovery so he can have the fulfilling life that God put him on this earth to live.
Two are still incredible.
But stable. They're in stable conditions. Yeah.
Last night we heard from the union representative rather passionately.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten a lot of attention everywhere around the nation, talking about that you guys are sick and tired of being the target. Do you share that? Because, people on general public saying, obviously this is incredibly tragic,
Yeah.
but they weren't maybe necessarily targeted or ambushed. So maybe the conversation is going this way when it...
Yeah, look, I understand that passion. I understand his passion, his compassion. These people, our men and women, we really are a family. That's a slogan in a lot of places, but we really are a family. Let me just say this. We are being shot on a regular basis. If you look at the officer fatalities this year, from gunfire, they're up. I would say that I would express my personal frustration at lawmakers that know that we have a public health epidemic in this country that we call gun violence. We know that that for whatever reason they offer a lot of prayers, but you know what? We don't need prayers from. We didn't elect people to pray for us. We elect people to lead us. We elect people to make public policy decisions, not based on whatever their primary. The politics of primary politics, right? Because only the base is basically, and sooner or later we will reach a point in our country where we're going to say we're not doing enough about gun violence. And so to the elected officials, I appreciate your prayers, but quite frankly, we've got a community that prays for us. Everybody can pray, but the only ones that can listen to trauma docs, and I'm not going to talk for Doc, but there's a reason that the Major City Chiefs Association has put forth a policy paper that talks about some of the steps that Congress can take. They have a national approach to addressing the scourge of gun violence. It doesn't just impact law enforcement, it crushes communities, tears apart families, cuts life short every single day. For everyone that you in the national media cover, there are dozens a day that don't even get a mention. And so my response to me is, criminals are going to be criminals, evil people are going to be evil. The question is, what are policymakers willing to do besides prayers to address a public health epidemic? And of course, somebody will now tweet, oh, there he goes with his, it's not an anti-gun agenda, it's an proliferation of firearms in the hands of people that have no business having guns. It's an anti being able to walk to a gun show, and if I'm a private seller, I can sell my M&P long rifle with 20 clips to whoever wants to pay without a background check. There are things that we can do that are not being done, and I would say that our frustration should be with people that are elected to make a difference in policy, and instead they only offer prayers. The other thing I will say from my perspective is this: if because we're at an era in our country where everybody, we want criminal justice reform, right? We want to give people second chances, but when people are involved in violent crime and they're committing felonious assaults with firearms, we need to hold those people accountable. And secondly, and we're talking to the legislature now, we need to hold these felons and these gang members that the first thing they do when they get out of prison is go get their GAT. And I don't mean a group activity ticket, I mean a firearm. They're not carrying it with them just to show off. They're carrying it with them so the second some other gangster gives them the wrong look or disrespects them, or they see a target of opportunity or someone that they know that did a hit on them 2 years ago, we've got to, when we catch felons with firearms, what they are telling us is that they're not going to play by society's rules, and we need to hold those offenders accountable. So that's what I'm going to focus on, because crooks are going to be crooks. The question is, what are we in society and what are elected officials going to do to help make it tough on those crooks to victimize? I'm going to just take 2 more, and then we'll get out of here. Hey, guys, you know what? Hey, our number one force multiplier is the community. I mean, I want you to think about the Houston Police Department, 640 square miles with 5,200 officers. That's it. 20 years ago, we had 500,000 fewer residents, but 300 more cops. That's not a very good ratio. Our ratio is going down instead of up. And so the thing that we rely on here in the city of Houston is an outstanding police department that's not perfect, but it's second to none. And most importantly, we work very diligently to build relationships with the community we serve. Without them, without their trust, I mean, this is in the east side that we knew after that SB4, the Sanctuary City debate about a year and a half ago, we saw reporting of certain crimes go down, and our reporters that are here locally know that we put a very extensive and ongoing effort going into those communities, letting them know that we're the Houston Police Department, these immigrant communities where we have 600,000 undocumented immigrants, letting them know, hey, we don't care about your immigration status. We care, if you're just here working, we're not ICE. Because we rely on them. They're witnesses, right? They're complainants, and we rely on them. And I think thanks to those efforts, those outreach efforts in Spanish and in other languages, our community trusts us. And I'm going to just say this, so those that don't think we should be doing that, the person that's selling fentanyl to the immigrant community today is selling it to the blue-blooded, blue-eyed, blonde-haired community members tomorrow. And guess what? The life that may be saved is one of your loved ones when people come forward and trust us to take action. They are our greatest force multiplier, and we love our city. And if you talk to any cop in this city, they love the city they work for. I mean, they love this. I've never seen it. This is my 3rd police department. I've never seen a love affair between a city and a police department like we have here in Houston. It's a special place. And I think it starts with the tone that the Mayor Turner sets as a welcoming city. and it ends with the tone that the officers in the street set with their community. So one more and then we'll go.
¿Podrían haber más sospechosos en este caso? Y esto,
Look.
¿qué tan preocupante es la violencia de las armas que mencionó?
Mira, sabemos que aquí tenemos una epidemia de salud sobre toda la violencia con las armas de fuego en este país, y como le dije a esta reportera aquí que yo me enojo no con los sospechosos, porque el criminal es el criminal. Yo me enojo con los políticos que no queremos sus oraciones, queremos acción. Queremos que tomen acción para tratar de pasar leyes para asegurar que las armas de fuego están en las manos de miembros de nuestra comunidad que son responsables y que no son criminales, y que también tienen la salud mental, que es buena salud mental y no están medio locos. Así que la investigación continúa, pero sabemos que sin la cooperación de la comunidad, esa casa vendiendo drogas estuviera aquí ahora mismo también vendiéndole veneno a nuestros niños. Okay? So, is that it, guys? Thank you very much.
Narcotics officers weren't wearing body cams. Yesterday you said that there were uniformed officers. Did they get any of that?
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Hold on.
No, we're done. Thank you.
You have been listening to an update on a breaking news situation that happened yesterday late afternoon. That was Chief Art Acevedo speaking about the 5 police officers who were injured during a shootout in Southeast Houston. That was in the 7800 block of Harding. The update that really everyone wanted to hear was about the officers who are still at Memorial Hermann Hospital, and a surgeon came out and spoke to the media about them. Let's go through it one by one, at least so you have an update on that. One officer who was shot in the face underwent surgery yesterday. That officer will need more facial surgery, but is said to be in stable condition. Another officer who also had a gunshot wound to the face will be discharged later on today. He's a 50-year-old sergeant who is a 25-year veteran with the force. A third officer who had a knee injury will be sent home later this week, also a 50-year-old sergeant. There's a fourth officer who is still at the hospital, but because of HIPAA and patient privacy laws, the physician did not provide an update about this officer, but Chief Acevedo called him a fighter, saying he was stable and that we do need to pray for him. There was a fifth officer who was shot, who was discharged from the hospital yesterday. That was a 33-year-old officer shot in the shoulder, had a gunshot wound there, but again was discharged. So that is the latest on the officers who were hurt. The chief saying that calling their actions courage under fire. And we certainly saw that yesterday.
Absolutely. That senior case agent, the 54-year-old, the most seriously injured. The family has requested no additional information about him, but the chief getting kind of emotional talking about it.
Yes.
That officer had passed a note to the chief prior to the press conference saying, I knew my guys were, under fire. I had to get in there. In Spanish, the chief saying, un león, un tigre, and the man is a lion, a tiger, just a big bear of a guy. We also got a first look at the suspects who were killed yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. So this is the male suspect, 59-year-old Dennis Tuttle. Interestingly, he has no priors in Harris County. And then there was a female involved, 58 years old, Regina Nichols. She has one prior in Harris County for a bad check. So at least in Harris County, not on the radar in the criminal justice system. So this was interesting, the chief telling us that when officers made entry yesterday about 4 in the afternoon, first the suspects released a pit bull, a large animal, which attacked the first officer breaching the door. That officer was shot in the shoulder, fell over, landed on a couch, and then the female suspect leapt over that couch, attempted to grab the fallen officer's shotgun from him. Then the remaining officers who made entry through the door began firing, shot and killed the woman, then shot and killed the man. A huge, huge gun battle. Mayor Turner going to be at the hospital at 11 o'clock. We will have the latest from him, as well as whatever else we learn on this entire situation on KHOU 11 News at noon.
All right, and we will have updates online as well. Now we're going to return to our regularly scheduled programming.